Tonight on the March 9th edition of Newswatch, the Republican health care bill advances through committee.
And the new EPA chief is under some hot water regarding climate change.
Add the latest in Cyclones basketball in the NFL offseason.
And the spring weather is gone. Winter has made a return for the time being. We'll talk about when the snow and the colder temperatures are coming up. All that and much more. Newswatch starts right now.
Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your night and week. Stay classy, Cyclones.
And thank you for joining us on tonight's edition of Newswatch. I'm Coley Bergren.
And I'm BriAna Campbell. Here are tonight's top stories.
The new Republican health care bill gains more traction as two House committees approved measures to advance the bill forward this morning. The American Health Care Act, or AHCA, is the Republican response on their promise to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, known by its nickname Obamacare. The bill has already faced heavy criticism from House Democrats, public health and medical associations, and even some Republican congressmen. Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas stated on Twitter this morning, the House health care bill can't pass in the Senate without major changes. To my friends in the House, pause, start over, get it right, don't get it fast.
Trump has tapped former Utah Governor Jon Huntsman to be the U.S. ambassador to Russia. Huntsman ran for presidential office in 2012 and was a critic of Trump during the 2016 elections. Huntsman has previously served as ambassador to China under the Obama administration, as well as ambassador to Singapore under President George H.W. Bush. Huntsman is in the process of filing paperwork to accept the position, which comes with high stakes in light of recent investigations to Russia's ties to the 2016 election.
The new head of the Environmental Protection Agency came under heavy fire this morning after stating that carbon dioxide was not a major contributor to climate change. EPA Chief Scott Pruitt told CNBC early this morning that he would not agree that it's a primary contributor to global warming. The scientific community has debunked this claim, citing many reports over the years from agencies like NASA and the NOAA linking the rise of atmospheric carbon dioxide to rising global temperatures. This admission comes as the Trump administration plans to roll back on many of Obama's environmental policies.
A fire in a children's shelter took the lives of 22 people on Wednesday in Guatemala. The fire comes after the children in the shelter started to riot on Tuesday in hopes to escape the shelter's history of abuse and overcrowded living conditions. During the riots, some dormitory mattresses were set on fire, but it is still unclear what caused the blaze on Wednesday.
Yesterday was International Women's Day. International Women's Day has been celebrated nationwide for over 100 years and has been recognized as a holiday in 27 countries. Although appreciated greatly worldwide, it still isn't celebrated as a holiday in the United States.
The Arabic Student Association held a party so big it ran out of food and chairs. Reporter Mary Kahn has more.
It was bigger than ever before. The annual Arabic Night hosted by the Arab Student Association happened last weekend, and this year's event was the biggest success that they've had.
But this year, we kind of learned from our experiences in the past year, and we planned it better than last year's, so we got more going on.
This year, the Arab Student Association requested additional funding from the student government. ASA Vice President Natalie Jouzy says student government gave them even more money than they asked for.
My goal was to make this a big event, a huge Arabic night. I wanted to make it like Puerto Rican night or even bigger, and wanted to make it like Diwali, Indian night. I just wanted to go all out. So my goal for this event was to show them what us Arabs really are in terms of our culture and our enthusiasm and our joyness. We have many things going on right now. We have dancing, henna booth, calligraphy, a photo booth, and just, showcasing our traditional costumes, our traditional dance, and how lively we are.
Even with all the other attractions of the night, it was the dance floor that stole the show.
We just want to dance, ballet dance, like dubke, anything. Just go on the dance floor and get crazy and jump.
With ISU TV, I'm Mary Kahn.
Iowa State hosted their very own Shark Tank last night in the M Shop of the Memorial Union. The Entrepreneurship and Innovation Learning Community hosted its 7th annual Innovation Pitch Competition and awarded the grand prize winner $1,000.
This week was a time for advocacy at the Iowa State Capitol. Several interests and advocacy groups gathered in Des Moines to talk to their legislators about causes important to them. Today, the Alzheimer's Association flooded the Capitol with purple to promote the HERO Project. The HERO Project is a state bill that would provide $250,000 for caregiver resilience. The project would aim to provide stress relief, assistance, and delayed facility time for caregivers who care for their loved ones with Alzheimer's 24/7. Alzheimer's is the only top 10 cause of death that has no cure or prevention. Go to www.alz.org/Greater Iowa for more information on Alzheimer's and the HERO Project.
The ISU blood drive took place early this week. I had the chance to check it out myself.
Iowa State held their biannual blood drive this past week. The blood drive, held Monday through Thursday, 10 to 5 p.m., took place in the Memorial Union.
A lot of people receive these donations because they're in a life-threatening situation, so it's really a huge deal for them.
Not only is the ISU blood drive the largest in Iowa, but the second largest student-run blood drive in the country. Although 38% of U.S. people are eligible to donate, only about 10% actually donate. Many don't understand how beneficial one donation can be.
People need blood every day, and so if you can take an hour out of your day this week and come donate, then you can potentially save 3 lives of people that are in need of something that you can give.
All you do is literally sit in a chair and give blood, so whether or not you're terrified, it's a good way to start here.
For ISU TV with Zach Williamson, I'm Coley Bergren.
After the break, Muslim students speak out against terrorism.
And we'll have the latest in weather and sports. Stay tuned, you're watching Newswatch. Welcome back to Newswatch. The Iowa State community proposed a new plan for the Syride bus system. The plan is to allow Syrides to reach just beyond the Iowa State campus and further out into the Ames community. Syride hopes to begin the reconstruction of their routes in the fall of next year. Keep an eye out for any route changes on the Syride website or on the MyState smartphone app.
Iowa State's lead fashion magazine is working hard at a new issue. Reporter Courtney Dust has more.
Iowa State University has a number of student-run magazines. Trend, one of the fashion magazines on campus, is coming out with a new issue this spring, and they're planning to change things up.
So with this issue, we're really just trying to do a little bit more edgy type of things, think a little bit more outside of the box, and give our photographers more creative abilities with those.
The theme for this issue is called Modern Movement, that is incorporating some fun and different styles throughout the magazine that the editors have made sure to incorporate through this issue.
One thing is that we wanted to implement a lot of different changes to the magazine, so that was kind of hard to really execute our ideas, make sure that it worked well for everyone.
Trend has different committees that specialize in certain areas of the magazine that members can choose from advertising to fashion to editing.
Learn how advertising works, to learn how online works and editorial. That was kind of just a challenge just because I've never really been on that side of things, so to just kind of make sure I knew everything.
Members of Trend collaborate with their committees to get ideas.
With my specific committee, I love doing the styling, kind of just coming up with stuff, and again, getting other people's views on that and putting them all together, and then just seeing it turn out is super rewarding and fun.
This upcoming issue will be Trend's 21st issue and will be released in late April.
In Iowa this week. For all of Monday and Tuesday, most of the state was under severe storm and tornado warning. Tornadoes touched down in a handful of local towns, including Pella and Knoxville.
The Muslim Student Association hosted a Q&A session with a mosque leader from Iowa City in the Pioneer Room of the Memorial Union last night. Students and members of the Ames community were invited to ask questions and learn what separates Islam and acts of terrorism.
Terrorists are the #1 enemy of Islam. That includes who? ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Jabhat al-Nusra, Hezbollah. Any terrorist organization, any group of people who organize and kill innocent civilians in the name of Islam, they are the #1 enemy of Islam. The #1 enemy of Islam are the terrorists themselves. Why? Because they portray a false image of Islam. They portray a false image of Islam.
Construction crews have been hard at work building onto the Iowa State campus, but how does the construction affect students? Colton Loftin has more.
There are a few common sights on Iowa State's campus right now. Crowds of students, side-ride buses, and 2 towering cranes looming over central campus. Major construction projects are occurring all over campus right now. 2 major ones are a bioscience facility addition to Bessie Hall and the Advanced Teaching and Research Building on Campbell Drive. However, our university isn't quite done growing. Just last December, work was finished on the new dormitory Jeffrey Hall right next to Buchanan, and construction is set to begin on a new Student Innovation Center very soon. It's not just new buildings sprouting up, but intense renovations to existing buildings, including Hamilton Hall, Pearson Hall, and many others. But with all these renovations come growing pains, including sidewalk closures and intense drilling and pounding sounds during classes.
Sometimes it's difficult for the professor to speak over. Our Dr. Rubel sometimes will just have to stop completely because the drilling a lot of times is, right underneath the classroom, it feels like, and it just starts up pretty suddenly. I definitely was just taking an exam and was totally startled when it just started up real quick.
Many students are bound to be affected by the construction projects. The Iowa State Facilities and Planning Management website currently has a list of nearly 120 projects either under construction or in the planning stages for the coming years.
On one hand, it's not too bad. It's not like we don't have access to certain amenities. I think I'd honestly rather have a little bit of noise during the semester and then, have buildings that are up and ready to go.
All in all, the university has a lot to benefit from improving facilities and additional buildings for students and research. But one thing is clear, construction crews will become a campus staple for the near future. This is Colton Loftin, Iowa State News.
Spring break starts next week for Iowa State students. While many students may just be headed home for a week of home-cooked meals and hanging out with their dog, others are headed to the popular spring break spots down south, like South Padre Island or Cancun. While out and about, make sure to exercise caution. Always go places with a buddy, protect your location on social media sites, drink responsibly, and wear lots of sunscreen, or at least enough so the fun can continue without a bad burn. Stay safe, Cyclones.
I can't wait for spring break. We're joined now by Hayley McPike with sports. What's new with sports?
Well, Coley, we have the results of the first round of the Big 12 tournament and some big NFL trades after the break.
Stay tuned, you're watching Newswatch.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Hayley McPike, and here's the latest in Iowa State and national sports. What a day for Iowa State's men's basketball team. The Cyclones improved their record 21-10 in a 92-83 win against the Cowboys of Oklahoma State in the Big 12 quarterfinal in Kansas City, Missouri. Leading scorers for the game were Monte Morris with 21 points and 9 assists, Deontay Burton with 17 points, and Naz Mitchell-Long chipping in with 14 points. Morris and Burton also helped the Clones on the boards, grabbing 10 rebounds each. With the number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks knocked out of the Big 12, Iowa State faces TCU tomorrow night at 7 p.m. The women's basketball team, on the other hand, fell short in 74-67 loss in the first game of the tournament against the number 24 ranked Kansas State Wildcats. The leading scorers were Emily Durr with 21 points, Heather Bowie with 13 points and 8 rebounds, and Shauna Johnson with 12 points. ISU's women's tennis team traveled to Sioux Falls last Saturday to play against Augustana and the University of Sioux Falls. The girls won both matches with a 4-1 win against Augustana and dominated USF 7-0. The girls will head to Urbandale tomorrow and compete against the University of Wyoming. It isn't such a great time for Nick Young. The Los Angeles Lakers guard reported that he was robbed from his home in LA over the NBA's All-Star Weekend. Young lost about $500,000 worth of jewelry and other belongings during the burglary. The Los Angeles Police Department is still investigating the athlete's case. Big moves were made today as the NFL opened its first day of free agency. New York Jets wide receiver Brandon Marshall was traded to crosstown rival New York Giants on a 2-year, $12 million deal. Houston Texans quarterback Brock Osweiler was traded to the Cleveland Browns for a 2018 second-round pick. The Browns are in an interesting position heading into the season with 11 draft picks, including the first pick of the draft. The NFL draft will take place April 27th to the 29th in Philadelphia. Now that's it for sports. How's the weather looking tonight, Zane?
Well, you know, Hayley, it's been spring-like, at least for early March. Not so much now. Right now, everybody's right out in the 30-degree range for temperatures, and it's just going to get colder from here. We'll talk about how cold and when the snow is coming right after this.
When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. He said,
Tune into the Midweek Roundup with me, your host, Michael Moreau.
I'm Jacob Lee.
We are going to talk about all sorts of things like baseball, or even debate the fact that the Vikings are going to finish third in the NFC North this year.
They're going to win the North again this year.
Tim Weeman, host of the Sound of the Storm. Connor Ferguson.
Hunter Smith.
Talk about all college sports and NFL, MLB, and our Storm is definitely brewing.
I'm Blake Akery, and I'm the host of the Sports View.
And I'm TJ Reed.
We talk college basketball and NBA.
And all things Iowa State.
Tim Weeman.
Patrick Stanek.
Hank Zimmerman.
Tune into the weekend pregame as we warm up the sports weekend ahead, including many segments with Pick'ems and Tim's Trivia.
I'm Taylor Menkel.
I'm Mary Rominger.
I'm Andrea Safar.
And I'm Joey Mullins.
And we talk a lot of different sports here, including
NHL and cyclone hockey,
world football,
American football,
basketball, and many other segments. Make sure to step into the Clone Zone.
I'm Michael Mainzer.
I'm Mary Rominger.
I'm Dylan Ryan.
And I'm Zach Williamson.
And this is Cyclone Talk. Listen in for live interviews and analysis from these guys.
Back. If you've been outside this evening, you probably noticed there's a little bit of a bite to the air out there. Here in Ames, we're sitting at 33 degrees at this hour, and those winds are out of the north at 17 miles an hour, so there's a little bit of a wind chill if you're out and about this evening. Today we got up mostly the southern half of the state, central and southern half of the state got up into the upper 40s. Up in northern Iowa, they only got into the upper 30s. That's pretty normal for this time of year, but because of those gusty northerly winds, it was a little bit chilly. 12 miles an hour still out of the north up in Fort Dodge, 17 here in Ames, and 15 miles an hour northerly winds in Des Moines. On top of that, we did have a few snow showers out there. These have been kind of moving across the northeastern part of the state of Iowa, along with a few clouds that have moved out. Those will kind of die off as they move through the evening hours, and then as Futurecast takes us through this evening, there's that clearing early tomorrow morning, and then here's our next system moving out of the Dakotas. This thing's going to kind of ride down along the upper level winds down the Missouri River Valley and bring us a pretty decent chance of measurable snow as we move through the overnight hours of Friday night into Saturday morning. So most of the time you won't have to deal with these issues, at least for driving and things like that, but there will be some measurable snow. This is what we're looking at right now. Central Iowa, only an inch or two, maybe 3. As you move further south and west, out along the Missouri River Valley, they could get 4 or 5 inches, maybe locally heavier amounts. So if you are getting out of town for spring break, you'll be able to get out earlier before really any accumulations happen. Although if you're headed west, you might run into some travel problems. So keep that in mind tomorrow evening. Lows tonight, in the meantime, going to be pretty chilly out there. Northern Iowa only going to be in the lower teens. Southern Iowa in the upper teens, maybe low 20s. In the northern part of the state, they could have single-digit sub-zero wind chills with those gusty northerly winds. So it's going to be pretty chilly for early March. Highs tomorrow, nobody's really going to make it above the freezing mark. 30s for most of the state, and then 20s off to the north. So it'll be pretty chilly for early March out there. Tonight here in Ames, 18 degrees for a low. Those wind chills, like I said, will be in the single digits. Those gusty winds will stay out of the north at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Tomorrow we'll work our way up to a high of 28. Clouds will be increasing as we move through the day ahead of that next system that's going to come by, and then wind chills will still keep us pretty cold with those northerly winds. Your extended forecast is going to have a couple chances of snow. There's that first one Friday night into Saturday, and then another one comes along Sunday night into Monday, and then all three of those days for the weekend going to be pretty cold, only in the highs around 30, and then early next week we'll kind of calm down a little bit and slowly make our way back up to normal temperatures by the later part of next week. Stay with us. We got much more Newswatch coming up after this.
A recently elected Rhode Island state representative is not in the spring break spirit. Maura Walsh, a young Democrat who beat out a longtime incumbent for her seat in the House, told a local Rhode Island radio station that, quote, file cabinets of booze, end quote, can be found in the state's capital. Walsh does not embrace this practice, as she believes being under the influence is not appropriate for those making the laws for the state. Other states, such as Massachusetts, have passed rules that state legislature may not meet after midnight in order to combat these late-night antics. Walsh says she intends to change this norm in the state capitol.
Liar, liar, pants on fire? A Florida lawyer caught some unwanted attention in the courtroom when his pants spontaneously caught fire during his testimony. Attorney Stephen Gutierrez noticed a hot sensation in his pockets during his arguments. The cause of the fire were malfunctioning e-cigarette batteries in Gutierrez's pocket. Fortunately, Gutierrez was able to remove the damaged batteries before any injuries. However, the blaze did not help his case, as he was defending his client from a second-degree arson charge. The defendant was found guilty shortly after.
Say what you want about lawyers, but I can't believe that was an accident.
Who knows? Maybe his client, guilty of arson, had something to do with it. That will be it for tonight's edition of Newswatch.
We will be off there next week for spring break, but we will return the following week with more of the latest news, sports, and weather at Iowa State.
Have a good break, Ames. Stay tuned for Ames Tonight.